Every game has an opening, and Baldur's Gate might have one of the best, if not the best, opening to a storytelling game I ever played. Most story can usually be split into three acts, which are setup, confrontation, and resolution. But the purpose of Act 1, which is setup, is really important since it used as a hook and a major factor for people to decide if they want to continue with the story or not. Now I know that people often said, do not judge the book by its cover, but if the cover aren't enticing enough, people wouldn't pick it. That's my point. And I think Baldur's Gate executes its setup almost perfectly. Now, Act 1, which is setup, can also be split into three. And first on the list is Exposition, or in a simple term, it's introduction. In my opinion, a good introduction to a story game is to give the necessary information without leaving the players out of the engagement. Because you see, without having the player engagement, all that necessary information will turn into flavor text, which you don't want. Especially video game as your medium to tell your story. And while Baldur's Gate didn't start instantly with the gameplay, the cutscene they provide is short and really compact. And the player POV in the cutscene provide a bit of engagement for the player, which is nice. And with that, you have the necessary information. So, after you create your characters, you instantly know that you have been abducted and invested by what seemed to be a mind flayer spawn. You're in the middle of the raid, and the objective is clear, which is to escape and cure yourself. And Baldur's Gate gameplay often reveal extra information and grounded the storyline for the player. And that is a good example for an introduction to a game. You hook them, give necessary information, and player action grounded the storyline. Now, I hate to do this, but we do need to give at least one comparison, and that is Skyrim. Well, especially the first 30 minutes of the game. Now, I was about to compare it to Starfield instead of Skyrim since Skyrim is a bit too old to be compared with Baldur's Gate, but Starfield, in the other hand, is not doable with normal mankind PC. Besides, Bethesda is not really good with their intros. I mean, of course, there's gotta be exception, but in general, they're a bit boring on intros. And that's why I picked Skyrim. Besides, it's the same settings, so it's easier to compare. And let's get started. You see, the problem with Skyrim intro is not the story, but more to their execution on telling that story. While yes, you start with the gameplay, in actuality, you are just prisoner sitting waiting for an execution while you're looking at the scenery the NPC dump you with flavor text. And that is Bethesda idea of intro. Well, Skyrim intro to be more exact. 7 minutes of it. Or what I like to call 7 minutes of seasoning. I love Bethesda. Now I could be wrong, but I think they give necessary information from the NPC talking to the other NPC, which is bad since that means it doesn't involve the player at all. It's just NPC talking to the other NPC. How am I supposed to know? I'm here just waiting for my deathbed, for my execution. And I should listen to the NPC character on my last moment. I do hope I'm wrong with this. I mean, even if I'm wrong, right? That means something went wrong. That the necessary information just went out my head or got blocked by my ears since you flavoring me to death for 7 minutes. And perhaps that's why a lot of mods changed the first 30 minutes of the game. Or cut it completely. I don't know. But that is my first experience of Skyrim. And that is before the dragon. Now let's go to the dragon one. Yeah, we like dragons. But unfortunately, you're not getting dragons or wyvern at all. I'm sorry. Sorry. That thing that came in and stopped your death, just basically an effect, a VFX, bro. Not doing anything. Not doing anything. I literally came in, and then you suddenly have to pick between two sides, two faction. I think, I don't know. The only difference is that one is red and the other one is blue. Also, it literally took them 40 minutes to actually start giving player tutorial of the game. That's one YouTube video. So not only the intro is prone with players lacking with the necessary information and objective, you also limit them to do any gameplay till the last minute. Honestly, that is bad, since the medium that you use for storytelling is a video game. A video game. You see, there is a difference between telling a story than showing a story, especially in visual media, because once you detach the player involvement from the information, or without a brief change of POV, all they're gonna hear is just a bunch of flavor text, and that is bad, which you don't want. But of course, without the infamous Skyrim opening, the quality of games like Baldur's Gate wouldn't be this good. So I'm appreciated. Appreciate Skyrim opening. I mean, the memes is already great. But we must move on to the next point, and that is the good old inciting incidents. Well, basically, it's an event that keep the main characters to the narrative. It's like a glue. So, in Baldur's Gate, your main characters are connected to the narrative by the mind flayer spawn in your head. By the lore, it usually took 7 days for normal infected to completely transform into those horrific squid or octopus, but basically it's the mind flayer. In the stories,
Day
it goes
1,
like
fever and memory loss. Day 2, hallucinations and greying skin. Day 3, hair loss and blood leaking from all orifices. Day 4, excruciating pain as the skeleton and organs reform and reposition. Day 5, the host personality has disappeared, fingers and toes and limbs elongate. Day 6, the flesh around the mouth splits to make way for tentacles. Day 7, a mind flayer is born.
but you soon found out that perhaps yours are different, since you and the party found out that you have not experienced any of the side effect yet. In doing so, Baldur's Gate create mystery to the narrative and also connect you as the player and the character to the narrative. And that is honestly a good inciting incident. Since Baldur's Gate is a choice matter game, being infected and not turning into a full-blown monster also give the player time to uncover more of the story first and the branching stories, so that player won't be accidentally choosing an option due to haste. Since it's a choice matter game, people need time, and that is a good thing to do for inciting incident. Now let's move on. And third on the list is the first plot point. In a simple term, it's an event that spins things around. You know, that thing that usually give you the second thought about the storyline. Is that thing. And in Baldur's Gate case, it's when you meet the dream visitor. Usually it's some hot mummy or dwarf Santa Claus. It's that character that you made before the game. Now, the dream visitor told the player and the rest of the party, I assume, that they have been secretly helping you with the intrusion on your noggin, but with a twist. Since the dream visitor want you to not remove the mind flayer spawn inside your head, because the dream visitor told us that mind flayer spawn inside our head will be used as a part of a grander plan and also for the greater good. So throughout Act 1, you've been adventuring and searching for cure. You meet with the druid, the goblin, the sus-looking granny, and the Yankee. One cannot help you, the other one worship you. The granny is just sus, and the Yankee is just right. So all this option, but then you are visited by Dream Visitor and told you otherwise to keep the larva and help them with the grander plan. And that, as the resolution to the whole mystery of Act 1, give the player a second thought about the goal. Because, mind you, before the Dream Visitor event, your goal is simple, which is to kill yourself. And without realizing, now you have a second thought on the whole matters. Because suddenly, you add depth into it. Now, you still have to make your answer, but unlike before where the answer seems to be more direct and the other seems to be just an option, now with the added information and context, it has more weight into it. And that changed the answer from being this is the right answer to this is my answer. The point is you can still choose an option. You can still choose to kill yourself. Maybe you want to worship by a goblin, so you choose keeping it, or keeping it for the purpose of helping the dream visitor. Heck, maybe you just like the color of green and you've been tweaking on every color beside green, especially those color of purple. But no matter what the answer is, with the added depth and weight into it, the answer you choose became truly yours. And that is a good thing.